Welcome to Skill Builder again. We're big day for me today because we're going to start putting the panels in for the rear extension. So it's the biggest bit, so I thought we'd start with that first because I figure once I've got that up, the other bits will be a piece of cake. And the weather's on my side. I had a little bit of rain last night just to keep the dust down. My first job will be roll the damp proof course round over the blocks, fix the sole plates down, which generally I shot fire them down with a gun, so I'll be doing a bit of that. But equally, for where I've got small bits like this, I'll probably want to do a few proper mechanical fixings in those because the shot firing's all right over a long length when you've got a big bit of timber, but I prefer when you've got small pieces to actually put a mechanical fixing in there so we're not going to blow the bricks apart or anything like that. So although it's a big area, this is a window, for example, right up to here, another one here, another one here. So actual panels, there's less panels on this one than there is on the side there. So it should be pretty straightforward. Yeah. We're just about to do the timber framing. We've got the delivery and we've got all the panels, and yesterday Roger and I on our own we started humping this stuff through, but they're all prefabricated with the insulation. They've got lots of timber members in and we struggled a bit over the rough terrain. So we've got some henchmen here today to give us a lift. So we've pulled our resources today and we're going to build this timber frame and maybe even get the joists on, and then you'll really see the benefits of timber frame construction. One, 3, 2, 4.
1, 3, 2, 4.
In fact, no, I'll revise that, Andy. 12, 8, 6.
12, 8, 6.
Yeah, and a 1, 1, 8, 4.
Yeah.
We're right in the middle of taking the flat roof off. We've rejoisted it out. So you might remember when I first spoke about this building, it was by a guy called Michael Newbury, who sadly passed away late last year. He developed this glass and steel house. Now the steel bit is basically 4 posts and a ring beam. And on paper it's all very good, but in reality didn't really work that well. Partly because of bad engineering and the ground conditions. So we've overcome all of that now by doing all our extensions with piling. The existing raft is in a fairly good order. They did underpin that. They went to a lot of trouble of underpinning that. And then what we've got is we've got our steel frame. So I already knew that one corner was really bad and I thought, well, what am I going to do here? I've got to kind of like lift it back up. And I thought, well, it's probably wanting to go back up because what's happened was the pad, the foundation with a post on it, has pulled the steel frame down into the ground. And before they took all of the old glass out, I bet that glass was cracking all over the place because it was just single glazed glass going all the way around. Anyway, cut long story short, we've done exactly that. We've cut through the post which had sunk. We've actually lifted it up, which we'll show you. And we've managed to get the frame within about 10 mil of level of itself all the way around. So I'm really, really chuffed about that. So maybe we'll have a look.
So why didn't you get it level then?
Well, because if I want to get it exactly level, that means taking another post up out the ground. And I think cutting one post is probably about all I can really risk doing. But in the future, good point, they're all going to be self-supported now by internal stud partitions and also slight small corner posts instead of the cantilevers. We're going to eliminate those because they jump and bounce.
So is that ring beam, that steel ring beam that we're going to see, is that still necessary or not?
Well, I like it because it's actually nice and solid, it's lovely and square. We need a ring beam of sorts to take the ends of the joist, and there was nothing wrong with it. And I think if you remember, one of my first things I ever said about this project was paying homage to exactly what he built here, because we really don't want to cannibalize it. We want to keep the integrity and also the passion and enthusiasm he had as an architect. So we want to sort of help that. The steel is now being lifted away from the old windows and the old brickwork, And the steel, believe it or not, is actually now level. There's an acro under the corner inside, which is holding it where I want it to be. And these walls and these windows are finished, they're going. So this is the post. And what I've done, I've cut a sort of a scarf joint or a halving joint in it. And the idea of that is I can get that welded back together, and we'll cut another section of channel either side, and then that'll be as good then. But as I emphasised a bit earlier, the load is now not really going to be on this pad which is hidden underneath the ground here. The load is actually going to be through some of the new work, which is a piled raft, and then also along the perimeter of the old slab, which has been underpinned. So all of this existing ring beam is actually not really doing anything apart from connecting the walls to the ends of the joists, which you can see in here. Ecojoists, they're a great product for a job like this. We've got a lot of services going to go through this flat roof. We've got insulation over the top, so we can run all of our heating pipes over the top instead of trying to get them under the floor or in the solid floor. We can put our central vacuum system all the way through and sort of get it to the rooms. And equally, we can do our air handling as well. So we're going to have one of these new systems which is taking out the stale air, taking the heat from it, and then replacing it with nice, fresh, clean air. All these internal walls, as lovely as they are in this nice brickwork, they're in the wrong place because obviously we're going to do different things. And as we've lifted everything up, we've just got basically some wobbly walls here which are ready to go. So no one's actually coming in here doing any work because obviously they didn't get that and they didn't know it's going over. But we're taking these down and use them as hardcore. But in the meantime, until I've got this roof plied, I want to make sure that anything that's helping it remain rigid can stay there. And as soon as that roof is plied and I'm happy that this steel structure has got its integrity back, then we'll have all this sorted out and we'll build some new walls, and they'll also have some ply on here and there to keep it rigid. So we're laughing then. Just to give you an idea of how we're connecting the buildings together. So in this side, we've got the timber frame, the new timber frame, and obviously we've got the steel frame above here. So this is a typical example. We've got a glulam beam which trims a glass light well above me, and then we've got a Simpson Specialist flat-backed hanger. We can tech screw that straight through the steel. Then we use the Simpson strong tie screws as well, and that's a wonderful job because it's really restraining everything. So it's holding our timber frame against the ring beam. We're going to get up there now because we're just about to stick 100 sheets of OSB up here. The OSB we're using is called conditioned OSB, so it's 1197 by 2397. So instead of it being 1220, 2440 or 8x4 in the old money, these sheets are produced to suit 600 centres, which is fabulous because it's really awkward trying to do something at 610 or whatever, because then you can't work for plasterboard. So here we have it. This is the start. I've got 5 sheets down, that's it, and I've got another 95 to go. And believe it or not, there's very few cuts because everything's been set out to suit the boards, which is really key when you're doing any kind of construction work, that you think ahead and you think, if I space that here, it's going to help me there. And you've sometimes got to think about where you've got to change of direction. How's that going to work? Where's the best place for me to put a timber to catch 4 boards? Because a lot of money is wasted in the construction industry just through offcuts, whether it's plasterboard, whether it's plywood, MDF. It's incredible the amount of waste, and you can't price for that.
And also, there's a bit of a problem with the landfill, isn't there? Especially with plaster.
Yeah, you can't burn it. You can't take it to the tip. You can't put certain things in a skip without the correct permission, for example. So yeah, it's really key, guys, to actually spend a little bit of time measuring and thinking things up. I know it's hard when you're doing a bespoke job and sometimes that don't allow, but I think it's crucial. Thanks ever so much again for coming by, checking us out. Also, maybe pop across to my channel. Obviously, it's nowhere near as sophisticated as Skill Builder. It's much more selfie with a camera phone, but I put some stuff on there which is kind of like a bit more geeky, a bit more techie, but it's mostly me talking because I don't have the pleasure of someone holding the camera. But there might be some interesting tips on there for you. So that's just Robin Clevett on YouTube, or on, you can see as a subscribe here on Skill Builder as well. So thanks very much and see you soon.